Hi, I'm Darley Newman, exploring the Yorkshire Dales in the north of England. If you've ever seen photographs or perhaps dreamt of those traditional little English villages in that beautiful sweeping countryside, those are the kinds of places you're going to find in this part of England.
In this episode of Travels with Darley, we'll explore the countryside of England and Wales, enjoying a Downton Abbey-esque experience at Castle Howard, visiting a real-life Harry Potter film destination, sleeping in the stacks on a unique library vacation, meeting the Calendar Girls, exploring the dramatic moors that inspired the Bronte sisters, plus UNESCO World Heritage Sites you might want to visit as we explore England and Wales. Windswept moors, quintessentially English countryside, and bucolic abbey ruins. Such is Yorkshire, called by many the Garden of England. We're discovering the history and present culture of this area that served as an inspiration for both the holy, the creatively blessed, and literary greats. Fans of Downton Abbey and historic stately homes should add Castle Howard in North Yorkshire to their travel list. Consistently ranking high on lists of the world's best mansions, Castle Howard is one of the most magnificent homes in England, and the story of the family who still keeps it running today may remind you of the fictional Crawley family in Downton Abbey. Even the driveway, what's called the Avenue, a 5-mile beach-lined road, is more than impressive. Once you reach Castle Howard, both the outside and inside are striking, and there's a world of intriguing stories and anecdotes that history expert Jane Blunt relays on our tour.
If we go back to 1699, the third Earl decided to build a house here because it was closer to the City of London. He asked all the architects and found John Vanbrugh, who strangely had never built a house before. This was his very first house. But he was a man full of ideas and broke the conventional rules. So if we look at the house here, you can see not only one classical order, but many. The pilasters there are Doric. The groove work, the lines you see scored, are Gothic rustication, which had completely gone out of fashion. And Vanbrugh brings it back. The skyline is bristling with urns and statues and things to see. And it is said that the people who first came to visit Castle Howard would draw up in their coaches over there, step out, behold the building, and had to reach for their laudanum and their fans. Such was their shock when they beheld this building.
The architect, John Vanbrugh, was not only radical in his designs for Castle Howard, and even for undertaking the role of architect for this massive project with no formal training in architecture, but equally daring throughout his life, spending time in prison for trying to overthrow the Catholic king, James II, and writing a series of plays deemed by many as risque.
But you've got to realise that Vanbrugh was a man of vision. They say he was an epic architect, and one of the examples of that is the view you see here.
Stunning.
The usual rule of building a house was east-west in configuration. This was because of religious tradition. Cathedrals and churches face east to Jerusalem, and by habit, houses seem to follow the same way. But he said, my lord, I'm sure he said, look at the view. It is spectacular, whereas if we face the house east, it faces Ray Wood, which was a medieval deer park, and nice, but not as spectacular as this.
It is stunning either way you look.
It is, and this was what was in Vanbrugh's mind. He didn't just think about the house and its immediate surroundings, he thought about it on an epic scale, all the way out to the horizon.
And equally epic inside, where further innovations in design open visitors' eyes and minds to a new way of building and living.
So one of the unusual things about this house is that we have corridors. We assume that all houses had them, but up until the building of Castle Howard, you progressed through a house from room to room, and very inconvenient it was.
Though short halls and passageways were in use, Castle Howard's long corridors were innovative in Britain for their time period, and Vanbrugh even had to explain what the word meant to the Duchess of Marlborough. It took more than 100 years to complete Castle Howard, and though this isn't the home where Downton Abbey is filmed, it has been a private home for over 300 years. And much like the Crawley family, The Howard clan has become creative in their methods of preserving this great estate. Castle Howard has served as the backdrop for a variety of productions, including the 1981 TV series and 2008 film version of Brideshead Revisited. It's also open to visitors.